Hello, everyone. My name's Lauren Duggar. I'm the Human Resources Coordinator here at Pride. We're going to be going over a new team member today, the Human Resources side. So please follow along. And if you have any questions, please email me at Lauren, Lauren, D as in dog, at prideinc.org. Let's get started. All right, welcome to Pride. As stated, my name is Lauren Duggar. I'm the Human Resources Director. You can see that my office line with extension is listed below, as well as my personal cell phone and my email. If you do need to contact me after hours or on weekends or holidays, you would need to use my cell phone number. I just ask that it be emergent. Things such as you being locked out of UKG is not emergent, and I will address that once I return back to work on the next business day. But otherwise, feel free to contact me on my office line or my cell phone during normal working hours. If you're more comfortable to text, by all means, please feel free to do so or send an email. Today, we're going to be doing a brief introduction and overview of Pride. We're going to be having a policy review as well, and then there will not be a break, nor will you be with the team trainers, as this is a recording. Let's get into it. So Pride's vision and mission statement are on the screen. The most important thing to remember is that Pride is all about people helping people. Unfortunately, I accidentally clicked. And so here is a brief history of Pride. You can see that we've grown and adapted to the needs of our community. We now have group homes, day programs, Youth Mentor, Pride Manchester House. You'll learn more about these as a new team member when you're with the trainers. Easiest way to stay connected with us is absolutely on Facebook. We are very active on Facebook, as well as Instagram. It is very close to a mirror image of what you would see on Facebook. We've received the 4-year accreditation from the Council on Quality and Leadership many years in a row. We're very proud of that fact. We were the first agency, such as ourselves, to receive that 4-year accreditation in the state of North Dakota, and actually second in the nation. So that just goes to tell you the services that we provide are top-notch. We're going to go ahead now and talk about forms that you've already completed, but we do need to go over. Your I-9 is your eligibility to work in the United States. Congratulations, a little bit of a shocker. You're eligible. Round of applause. All right. Direct deposit. This is the information that you gave us when you were completing paperwork. And if you do need to change it, you would change it on UKG. We do then request that you give us a copy of, well, not a copy, but either a voided check that shows your banking and routing information, or a letter from your bank that shows your banking and routing information, or even a screenshot if your app allows that. That's so that we're able to bypass the pre-note requirement and issue you a direct deposit for that next check if we do not get those things. Your first check after you update direct deposit information will be paper, and you will need to come to 1200 Missouri Avenue in order to pick that up when it is that payday. All right, your W-4 is your tax withholding. If at any point in time there's a marriage, divorce, birth, or death that would change the way that you have taxes taken out of your paycheck, you would need to update that on UKG. An authorization for payroll deductions. If you are entrusted with keys or training modules during your employment with Pride and you decide to leave, or there is a separation of employment, we do reserve the right to withhold $25 per item that is not returned. This would be those keys or training modules. So you do want to make sure, sorry, that you return those. While you are here, you may be working with individuals outside in the community. If you are entrusted with funds for them, those funds can only be utilized for the individual. So if, for instance, you were to go to Starbucks and the individual wants a mocha frappuccino, that's great. No matter how much they beg and plead, even if they were to then buy a second drink, you're unable to accept that. You do need to make sure that you're paying for yourself. The only exception in this is actually for the youth mentor department, where it is expected that if you are going to the movies or something like that with that youth that you're serving, their family is responsible to purchase that ticket. So please just make sure that you read those plans. We'll go over time and attendance here in just a little bit. Your out-of-state background check. If you have been out of state in the past 5 years, you do need to send me an email. It is a requirement. And let me know. If you have not lived out of North Dakota in the past 5 years, you do not need to let me know that. Procurement of a consumer report, that's just a fancy term, meaning North Dakota background check. If anything does happen to come back that would be listed on there, we are required to send that forward to the Department of Developmental Disabilities. They then would make that determination on whether or not those charges and convictions would bar you from employment with Pride. If for some reason they do, we do give you a copy of that as well as let you know. You've signed a vehicle agreement and supplied copies of your driving records. Please note that if you are going to be driving a Pride vehicle, if you were to get in an accident, it doesn't matter how minor it is. It could easily just be, someone rear ends you going less than half a mile an hour. So there's absolutely no damage, no paint scrapes, nothing. Because it is a Pride vehicle, you are required to contact the police and file a police report. If you are in your own vehicle and an individual is with you, those same rules apply. You are required to get that police report, and you cannot leave that scene as long as that individual is with you. Again, it does not matter how minor or how major the incident is. If you are in your own personal vehicle and you do not have an individual with you, that is between you and your insurance, and I do not need to know any of that information. All right. With health screens, Pride does offer the hepatitis B vaccination series to every employee. If you would like to receive the hepatitis B vaccination series, you would just need to let me know. I would then fill out a form and give that to you, and you would be able to take it to Burleigh County Public Health to receive that hepatitis B vaccination series. It is completely free of charge. And continuing on with forms, while you're here at Pride, you will be required to be part of CPI, or therapeutic responses, commonly called TR. You usually are paired with other people, so there will be physical contact made. If for some reason you are uncomfortable with that situation, you would need to let the trainer that is working with you know. This physical contact is no way, shape, or form meant to be sexual in nature. It's purely just to give you the experience and knowledge that you need in order to be successful here at Pride. While here, you are not to use a fire extinguisher unless you have been trained by another Pride employee in order to use that. Fire extinguishers, the material inside of it is flammable, so if used incorrectly, it can create a pretty intense explosion. So if, for instance, there's a stove fire that you can put a pot lid on and extinguish it that way because it doesn't have any air, please do so. If the walls are on fire, you need to get yourself and the individuals in that location out of that location, safe distance away, call 911, and let it burn. Pride has insurance to cover things. We can rebuild, we can buy things that need to be replaced. Absolutely. However, you are not a lizard that is able to regenerate those body parts. So we want to make sure that you and the individuals that are there get out of there, safe distance away, call 911, and let the facility burn. We'll go over affirmative action here shortly, as well as equal opportunity employer. But I do want to mention that you did fill out the equal opportunity form when you were onboarding. This is a voluntary form that gathers ethnicity and gender information. You either did decide to disclose that information or decline to disclose that information, which is absolutely fine. That form is seen by myself only for government compliance reasons. If you do want to see what you filled out, you can absolutely contact me and I can show you those forms for yourself only. Or you are also able to get onto UKG and go to documents and it will be there, as well as that DSP code of ethics. You again also completed this on onboarding. A copy is available by request to me, or it is on documents in UKG. So now we're going to talk about time and attendance, starting at the top. All team members must clock in and out of work using our time and attendance system, which is UKG. Failure to clock in or out may delay the processing of your payroll. Also, geolocation is required to be enabled. So when you were first setting up UKG, it would have asked you if it can utilize your location. If you did say no, you do need to go in there and enable it. It is a requirement and we do audit. So we don't want to find out that you're not utilizing it. If you do forget to clock in or out or delayed in clocking in or out for whichever reason, please use the punch request that's on UKG to submit that request. Once your supervisor approves it, it will show correctly on your timesheet, but not before that. So you may put in that request. It may be a couple of days before your supervisor approves it, but trust that it is there. You can always reach out to your supervisor to verify that they did receive that request. But until they approve it, you will not see it on your timesheet. You are required to enter your job location. If there's a mistake made, you're able to easily correct that. You would go into your timesheet on UKG and you would update that project or cost center code. Only clock in or out from your site. The system, being that it is geolocated, means that we are able to see where you have clocked in or out from. Failure to clock in on location or out may result in time adjustments or disciplinary action up to and including immediate termination. Don't attempt to clock in or out for another employee. UKG also notates the device that is being used, so we're actually able to see that information as well. If for some reason a coworker does say, hey, I really need to use your phone, the computers are down, I lost my phone, there's no way that I can clock in, you are able to allow them, if you're willing, to utilize your phone to physically call the supervisor so that they can speak and that voice can be recognized to the supervisor to let them know what's going on. So the supervisor would then be able to assist them with clocking in. But if a text message is sent, we're not able to verify who that is. And that is considered time clock padding, which is illegal. Do not work more than your scheduled hours without permission from your supervisor. So if somebody is running late and you're worried, make sure that you actually contact your supervisor and say, hey, so-and-so is not here. What would you like me to do? If you are asked to stay after your shift ends to cover for another employee, you're going to clock out of your current shift and clock into that next shift that they were supposed to have been at. Remember, of course, that when the relief staff does arrive, you're going to clock out as normal. If an emergency occurs at your place of work that may require you to work additional hours, contact your team leader or your supervisor before working beyond your normal hours. Again, this is communication, and we don't want you working longer than need be. So if an emergency does happen, make sure that you reach out to your supervisor and say, do you want me to stay? Understand that it'll be considered that you have voluntarily quit employment if you miss one scheduled shift without contacting your supervisor or making prior arrangements. This does also include trainings, as that is a scheduled paid shift for you to come to a training. Now, we have all woken up late, right? We've slept past our alarms. And that's not the worst thing. But when you do wake up, you want to make sure that you take a deep breath first, because I'm sure you're freaking out. And then you want to contact your supervisor to let them know what's going on. They'll advise you from there what they want you to do. A record of hours worked is always available on UKG, and a paper copy is available upon request to myself or payroll. Vacation requests must be submitted on UKG a minimum of 14 days in advance. An accrued vacation balance must be available and sufficient to cover the hours requested. Your request may be approved or denied at the supervisor's discretion. Approval or denial is based on prior requests from other employees and availability of coverage. You also are required to find your own shift coverage, and I know that can sound awfully horrible. However, it does give you kind of that breath of fresh air. So when you say, I will work these shifts, those shifts then become your responsibility. If I decide that I want to go on vacation, and so I talk to another team member and I say, hey, I know that you have a vacation coming up, in a few weeks. If I work your shift while you're gone, would you be willing to pick up my shift while I'm gone on vacation during this time? They say yes. I contact my supervisor, let them know that I talked to this person and this is what we agreed upon. Is that acceptable? Supervisor says yes. Great. I get to go on my vacation. I'm having a great time. The other person fails to show up to those shifts that they had agreed that they would take for me. Who's responsible? Is it them or me? Well, since they took on the responsibility of those shifts, they're the ones that are going to get in trouble, not me. So I get to continue to enjoy my vacation while they will have to deal with those consequences. So getting shift coverage really just gives you that peace of mind. And if you are struggling with finding shift coverage, speak with your supervisor. They want you to be able to go on those vacations, or whatever it may be, but they do want to assist you. So really just make sure that you're communicating that, and they're able to help you, and they might know some tricks and trades that you're able to do. Planned sick requests must be submitted on UKG, or even with your supervisor if they're not using that, within 7 days in advance. An accrued sick balance must be available and sufficient to cover the hours requested. I also want to note that sometimes the available balances for vacation and sick are 0 or unpaid time off, and that's okay. That's okay. That's not a big deal, but just so you're aware of that. Unplanned sick requests must be entered into UKG within 8 hours of returning to work. An accrued sick balance must be available and sufficient to cover the hours requested. If you have any questions at this point, please reach out to me. All right, we are paid every other Friday. If that day happens to land on a holiday, we are paid the business day prior. Next, we're going to be getting into benefits. So if you are a level 1, that is 0 to 19 hours scheduled to work per week, you are not eligible for benefits. If you are a level 2, which is 20 to 29 hours, so all the 20s in the level 2, you are part-time and you do have the ability to enroll in benefits. And if you're level 3, that's our full-time, and that is 30 or more hours. So let's say that you were hired on April 15th. On May 15th, your supervisor will send me an email letting me know if you are level 1, 2, or 3. If you're level 2 or 3, you will receive an email on that same day saying that you have 30 days to enroll in benefits. It doesn't matter how fast or slow you go. you will have a required 30 days. You have the option to reach out to me and we can go over the benefits or enroll in benefits on your own on UKG. The end of your 30 days would be, because May has 31 days in it, would be on June 14th. They would not take effect till the first of the month following that end of the 30 days, which would be July 1st. So keep that July 1st date in your head. So again, you must work a minimum of 20 hours per week in order to be eligible for benefits. Benefit plans, we have two options. We have Plan A, which is an additional $2 per regular hour worked only. That's not including sleep time. That's not including drive time. You must have proof of insurance outside of Pride, so your insurance cannot be with us. And every quarter I will request a copy of that proof. And you do have a certain amount of time, which is always outlined in those emails, in which to get that to me. With that additional $2 per regular hour, you actually waive option B, which is sick leave, vacation time, paid for observed holidays, funeral leave, things such as that. You also do not have the option to enroll in medical or the health savings account. Plan B is getting sick leave, vacation time, and paid for observed holidays. You have the option, not the requirement, to enroll in medical insurance and HSA. Regardless of whether you choose Plan A or Plan B, we do have voluntary benefits for every employee that is a level 2 or 3. We have dental insurance, vision insurance, life insurance, assurity policies. That's like Aflac, only cheaper and better coverage, and then short-term disability. We also have a 401k. You must be 21 years of age or older and have completed 6 months of employment with Pride. Bravera will reach out to you if you meet those requirements. This is for all team members, no matter how many hours that you work. We do match at 6%, so that's a pretty big number. We also have profit sharing, and this is based off availability of funds. You must be 12 months of employment with Pride and 1,000 hours worked and the age of 21. And since 2018, Pride has done 12% on that profit sharing. So that's actually a rather large number for the year that, that made 18%. And that's a lot of free money. I do suggest that when Bravera reaches out to you to absolutely meet with them. It's free. They will go over the options of 401k, whether or not you decide that you want to enroll in the 401k. And they give you at that point basically financial planning for free again. So I just advise everyone to, if you choose not to go with the 401k, that's absolutely fine. But, take those free services where you can get them. In today's day and age, there's not a lot of that. All right, vacation time. It starts accruing at that benefit start date. Remember, we talked about if you were hired in April, and it would be that July 1 date. So though your benefits have started, you actually do not have access to vacation or sick leave until your 6 months with Pride. And that's only if you choose Plan B. Don't forget that you must provide 2 weeks notice minimum for any vacation requests, and you do have to actively find your own coverage. And the way that we accumulate vacation for all Plan B is through years. So years 1 through 3, if you're level 2, it's 0.02308 hours for every hour worked. Level 3 on Plan B, it's 0.04616 hours for every hour worked within that 1 year mark. As you can see, as we go 4 to 6, 7 to 9, 10 to 12, and 13 plus, that vacation number does get larger on how quickly you accrue. For sick time, you want to give as much notice as possible if you have illnesses or medical appointments, vision appointments, dental appointments, or attending to the needs of immediate family members. This is what the planned sick leave. And with that, immediate family members for Pride, it is unique, and I'm very proud of the company for this. So, of course, parents, siblings, um, in-laws, if you are married, stepchildren. We also look at grandparents, which is rather unique, and grandchildren. So if you're needing to take time off, so I am my grandmother, and if my grandson happened to be ill and needed to go to the doctor, I would be able to use my own sick leave in which to take him to that, and take care of him like if his mother needed to work. If you are a grandchild and you have a grandparent that's in need of assistance, you're actually able to use any of that sick leave that you accumulate if you're on Plan B to assist with taking care of them. So it's unique and it's wonderful, and it's great to see that Pride recognizes that connection that a lot of grandparents and grandchildren do have. Okay, sick time again starts accruing on that benefit start date, which again, if you were hired in April, it would be that July 1 date. Again, it starts accumulating, but you don't have access to utilize it until 6 months, which is actually pretty nice because then you actually have something to utilize when you have access to it. On Plan B, all those level 2 members will accrue 0.02308 hours for every hour worked. This does not change as you go up in years. Level 3 team members, it's at 0.04616 hours for every hour worked. Again, it does not change as you go up in your years of service within Pride. All right, we also have an EAP. This is with CHI St. Alexis. Each team member gets 8 free counseling sessions. If they are married, their spouse gets also 8 free counseling sessions, and any children under the age of 26 also each get 8 free counseling sessions. It is absolutely free of charge. It is completely confidential. It is available immediately, and it can address depression, anxiety, and substance abuse issues, improve personal or professional relationships, help you manage stress, again, either personal or professional, work through emotional issues or grief, and assist with legal and financial concerns. Those legal and financial concerns are actually just going to be other resources that they'd be able to give you to contact. All right, we're going to talk a bit about company policies. All right, this is the Pride website, www.prideinc.org. As you can see up here, it does say staff pages. We're going to click on that. Your email address is the email address that I've sent you all those notifications with UKG on. Your password is your 5-digit ID number. If you log into UKG, you will see that there's a number. It's usually a 60 number, but it is 5 digits. And that number is that password. It's also the same number that you use to get into buildings. If you do not know that number or you can't seem to find it, you can absolutely send me an email. I will have no problem getting that to you. We're going to go ahead and sign in. So this is the landing page. We're going to be looking at policies today. As you can see, we have a lot of policies for Manchester House, Youth Mentor. We have Pride program policies. Absolutely feel free to look through any of those, but we're going to be going on universal policies. These policies are for everybody, which is why they are universal. We're going to be looking at employment policies. So Pride does have a lot of policies available for you to look over if you would like, but we're going to be doing equal employment opportunity, and starting right here. Pride does not discriminate against individuals on the basis of genetic information, race, color, sex, sexual orientation, gender identity, religion, disability, age, veteran status, ancestry, or national or ethnic origin. Under no way, shape, or form do we allow, condone, support discrimination. So if you do believe that you're being discriminated, please reach out to me immediately. Pride does have a lot of affirmative action policies. These policies are discussing how we specifically recruit and hire minorities. This would be ethnic minorities or females. We go out of our way to recruit and employ people with disabilities, veterans, Vietnam era veterans, and veterans with disabilities. And we actually search for diversity. We don't want everyone to be the same. Not everyone is the same. The people that we serve are not the same. So we really want to make sure that we're getting a diverse population. This could be cultural, religious, ethnic. I mean, there's so much even within our own communities, but we want to make sure that we're getting that diversity in order to make sure that we're giving the best possible outcomes to those that we serve. Again, there are a lot more policies. By all means, feel free to look through them. All right. So that was our Pride website, www.prideinc.org. Again, your email address is your user ID, and that 5-digit ID number is your password. While here at Pride, you will be able to utilize computers. We do ask that you do not try and subvert or go around our security features on those computers. It will alert the system, and that's not a good thing. When using the computers, do not use them for illegal, immoral, unethical, or personal reasons. If you are going to school and you have some downtime and you would like to utilize the computers to work on your schoolwork, you do need to have written approval from your supervisor in order to do that. Again, that is once all requirements, chores, working with the individual are done. Usually that's going to be like when they're sleeping. All of our networks and computers are monitored and that information is retained, which means that I'm actually able to retrieve, read, and listen to anything, which means your emails, voicemails, and text messages. So they should not contain things such as, but not all inclusive, sexual images or comments, racial slurs, gender-specific comments, comments that are offensive based off of age, sexual orientation, religious or political belief, national origin, or disability. Please, please keep it professional. We take sexual harassment very, very seriously. It can be an unlawful and unwelcomed and unwarranted sexual advance. It can be a request for sexual favors or other verbal or physical conduct of a sexual nature. Other verbal, that would typically be a joke. And whether or not you find that joke appropriate, someone else may not. It may be physical contact, such as if the trainers were teaching and it was my time to come up, and I came and I patted one of them on the shoulder and said, "Good job." And they went to the CEO and said, "Lauren harassed me." They're not wrong. They're not wrong. They didn't ask me to touch them on the shoulder, but I did it anyway. And I don't know if that's going to be a triggering event for them or not, because I don't know anything about their past, and I don't want to know. That's their own personal information. If they choose to share that with me, that's of their own decision. So does that mean I'm going to get fired? No. Does it mean that I'm going to have to take sexual harassment training? Absolutely. We do investigate every claim that comes into us. The other thing to remember, that sexual harassment is about the person's perception, not my intention. So if the trainers perceived it as sexual harassment, it absolutely is. It doesn't matter that that was not what I intended it to be. My intention is not what matters here. So we want to make sure that everything that we do is respecting the boundaries that other people may have. If you feel that you're being subjected to sexual harassment as a condition of employment, basis for an employment decision, it's interfering with your job performance, or it's creating a hostile, intimidating, or offensive work environment, please let us know. You can contact your supervisor, you can contact myself, you can contact the CEO. If you're more comfortable with the trainers, you can absolutely contact them. You can call, text, email, write a letter, write an anonymous letter, slip it under a desk. The only thing you don't want to do is tell your other teammates about it, because that is how gossiping starts. And at that point, we can't stop that. Though gossiping is not allowed here, it's hard to, of course, always find that source. We all played the telephone game when we were younger. And we can't stop that information. So again, you want to make sure that you're keeping it as confidential as possible. And remember that when reporting, it is not a knowledge, a conviction of, it is a belief that you're being subjected to it. If you see somebody that you think is being subjected to it, absolutely bring that forward. If it's happening to one person, it might be happening to another. And it's always better to advocate for our fellow teammates and those that we serve than to not. We know those statistics, and we don't want that to be a problem. Hostile work environment, again, is very similar to sexual harassment. It just does not have that sexual undertone. So it can include, but is not limited to, abusive language, racial slurs, gender-specific comments, comments that are offensive based off of age, sexual orientation, religious or political belief, national origin or disability. It can be an intimidating work environment or unreasonable demand beyond your job duty. If you believe you're being subjected to it, or you believe that you see somebody being subjected to it, please let us know. Again, you can go to your supervisor, myself, the CEO, or if you feel more comfortable, to the trainers, as they are also under the same requirements for confidentiality as your supervisor, myself, and the CEO are. If you have a complaint or grievance because you believe that you were unjustly treated, or there was a violation of our non-discrimination policies, please let us know. You would be able to take that grievance to the CEO, corporate counsel, or the board of directors. The board of directors list can be found on our Pride website under governance, because they govern us. All right, there will be a workplace violence active shooter video that we'll be playing in a little bit. It actually should be a link in an email sent to you. You're going to need to click on that and follow that video. If a situation arises with an individual and you happen to notice that maybe there's a situation going on that's getting a bit heated between another team member and an individual, you are not to interfere with it unless you are asked by that other team member to do so. You will get trained just as they are specifically trained in order to diffuse those situations. If you were to jump in without asking or waiting for them to ask you to do so, you are putting them and the individual at great bodily harm, up to and including death. So just don't do it. Wait until somebody says they need your assistance. If you do report on a team member in any way, shape, or fashion to a supervisor, the CEO, or myself, again, we ask that you keep that information private. We will look into it, and you are absolutely safe from any type of retaliation. So if you do believe that you're being retaliated against for bringing a concern forward, please let us know. It is illegal under the Deficit Reduction Act of 2005. It's more commonly called the Whistleblower Act. The company does reserve the right to search lockers, offices, and/or storage areas and vehicles that are on premises. On premises means owned or operated by Pride. Pride does follow all OSHA regulations as they pertain to each department, such as production must wear closed-toed shoes at all times, and our group homes undergo compliance inspections. If you happen to see something that you believe might be a safety concern, please let me know, as I'm the head of the safety committee. All right, if law enforcement ever becomes involved in a situation, you're to follow the law enforcement directive only if that person is in immediate life-threatening danger. So if an individual is running around in the parking lot after hours in the middle of summer, the likelihood of them being in immediate life-threatening danger is low. The cars aren't speeding through the parking lot. The likelihood of, lots of traffic right there is pretty low. So it's not a big deal. Follow whatever their plan states. If they are in the middle of winter wearing black, at a super busy intersection during rush hour, the likelihood of them being in immediate life-threatening danger is very high. You would let the police do what they do best, and then when they got them back to a safe location, you would go back to following that individual's plans. So just remember that, life-threatening or not life-threatening, it's life-threatening, the police get to handle it until it's no longer life-threatening, and then we do. Personal cell phones. Do not use your cell phone at work. I don't care, in all honesty, if you see other people doing it. Report that to us, please, because they're paying for our time. They're paying for our services. This is not our personal time. You can do that when you're at home. Right now, you're at work. You can use your phone if you're needing it for work-related reasons, talking with a supervisor, a DSP2, something such as that. But it should not be used for personal reasons while you are actively working. Also, if you are driving, you are able to utilize your phone for GPS purposes only. However, it needs to be hands-free. That does not mean that you get to pick it up, look at it, and go, okay, I need to turn left, and then put it back down. Your hand touched it, which means it's not hands-free. If there is a phone call that you actually would need to take, I suggest that you go ahead and let it ring, get to your destination, and if you're able to, then call them back then. Because in order to answer that phone while driving, you would need to come to a controlled stop on the side of the road, putting the car in park, turning on the hazards, and then turning the car off. Then you're able to answer that phone call. If you've done this correctly, you will actually miss that call. That's just the way that it goes. This has been tested time and time again. If you do happen to make that call, you applied too much brake. Instead, I would just suggest you get to where you're going. If it's that urgent, you should, it's probably not far where you're going, and you're going to be able to answer the call at that point, or at least return it. Okay, we do have some incentives and discounts. Pride has a health club membership incentive. So if you go to the gym or a health club 12 times in 1 month, and you're able to get a printout of your check-ins, you would then supply that to me by the 15th of the next month. And you would be able to get up to $15 back. It's a fun loophole, but it does count. If you go to a gym such as like Planet Fitness that has tanning capabilities, and you use those tanning facilities or the hydro massage or something such as that, and you go 12 times in 1 month, that does count. You're able to turn those check-ins into me and receive up to $15 back. If you walk or ride a bicycle 2 miles one direction 12 times in a month, and you have something such as a smartwatch or a GPS service that tracks that, you're able to then turn that into me and get $15 back every month. We do have some discounts at YMCA, Anytime Fitness, Snap Fitness, and Verge. And if you are on Verizon, you can get a discount after 6 months of employment with Pride by showing them a pay stub. All right, all new hires are eligible to receive a $1,000 new hire bonus. You must be actively working. That means that the bonus cannot be the reason that a paycheck is cut. And you must be current with training. If you have both of those requirements, at 6 months, you'll receive $500, and at 12 months, you'll receive $500. If somebody referred you that's an active employee, please let us know. If you refer somebody, you want to make sure that you let us know or they let us know. If you refer someone, you're eligible for a $4,000 bonus. You must be actively working, and the other person must currently still be employed with us. So if the other person is still employed and you're actively working, again, that means that you're receiving a paycheck outside of the referral bonus. At the person you referred, at their 6 months, you'll receive $2,000. At their 12 months, you'll receive $2,000. All right, that brings us to the end of your new team member with Human Resources. If you have any questions, again, please reach out to me. I'm available by phone call to the office, phone call to my cell phone or text message, and email. If you'd like to schedule an appointment with me to go over any of these questions that you might have, please reach out. Be more than happy to assist you. All right. So thank you. Welcome to Pride. We are very excited to have you here, and we hope that you enjoy it as much as we do.